Walk with me.
The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit, and he hath left off to be wise and to do good. He deviseth mischiefs in his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. Thy mercy, O Yahweh, is in the heavens, and thy faithfulness reaches unto the clouds. Thy righteousness is like the great mountains, thy judgment like a deep. O Yahweh, thou preservest man and beast. They shall be abundantly satisfied with fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. For thee is the fountain of life. In thy light shall we see light. O continue thy loving kindness unto them that know thee, and thy righteousness to the upright in heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked remove me. There are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down and shall not be able to rise. Psalms chapter 36. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, O my God. Establish thou me in my seed forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. A prayer of Abram, Psalms chapter 12 and verse 20. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and those shared platforms. We thank God for you, and we thank God for those of you that have been with us from the beginning, and we thank the Most High for those of you that have come thereafter and here and there's about, and we thank God for those of you that have just subscribed. Yes, we give God the praise for you, and those for you that are about to subscribe. Yes, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes. Now, we're seeing all kind of things culminate in this world. But fear, I think some of us in these far countries, the countries that we figure no one can touch, no one can come near, they're afraid. I mean, even in Japan came so close to it, scared the pants off the U.S., and that they had to play Ender's game. In other words, to cause others not to want to come because he is very lethal. But God does as he wills. You're not in the far reaches of God, and if he bring an enemy from afar or bring an enemy from near, that's God. Just like he brought the colonizer to the lands far off, he can also bring another from a land far off. And you have your defenses and your domes of war and all these things, but yet God still can allow an enemy to penetrate. Not because of your righteousness, but because of your wickedness and your evil. The way of God is found out among those who seek him. But those who judge God can never know God. Yes, we're in the book of Jasher. The book of Jasher, chapter 34. Yes, and we ended with verse 38 and then beginning at verse 69. Chapter 34 and beginning with verse 69. If you prepare, Jacob prayed for his sons because he knew they were about to go to war and that the enemies of Jacob were coming toward him. But the fact is, the enemies of Jacob have also understood that God is with Jacob. See, this is what you want to establish, that your ways please God and how God have delivered you in many things. This will give you confidence before God, but you have to acknowledge him in all your ways and all the things that he delivered. You can say, if you can say to all these things, I'm not talking about a light bill, I'm talking about enemies. A light bill is not an enemy. Getting your lights turned off is a trial. Yes, that's really irrelevant, and it's having no money is nothing. God don't have no money, but yet he has all things. He don't need it. But he can supply you according to his riches and how you glorify him. Yes. See, God is very selfish, to put it plainly. He's selfish. He wants you to himself. As Abraham, we talk about, see, this is what they try to hide from you, the faith of Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. The confidence of Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. See, in order to understand this faith and this thing where a man loves God more than his own flesh, you have to read these things and understand them, and they've hidden these things from you. Yet you can go into the letters that are written and they talk about the faith of Abraham. They talk about these in caves, the faith of the prophets, the faith of those kings, and the faith of those just women, men and women all over the place that have just believed God above their own lives. They don't want you to see the Apocrypha and how that even the children of Judah resisted the Greeks, the children of even Israel, how they resisted the Greeks and their helmet badgering and persecution of them. Yes, and even still in that time, not too long ago, God showed signs and wonders and miracles. Today you say, where are his miracles? Where is God? Some of you even say, oh, he doesn't exist. He can't prove himself to me. God ain't going to prove nothing to you. Let your butt fall right backwards or forward into the pit that he had prepared for Satan's and other angels. Now, therefore, let us get into the word. Yes, verse 69. And the sons of Jacob and their servants went toward these kings, and they trusted in the I Am their God. And whilst they were going, Jacob their father also prayed unto the I Am and said, Oh, Tata Nzambi, God, powerful and exalted. God, that means powerful too, exalted power, who has reigned from days of old, from thence till now and forever. He's praising God. He's attributing power unto the Most High. Verse 70, and thou art he who stirreth up wars. Yes, who stirreth up wars? Come on here. This is a truth here. He said, thou art he who stirreth up wars and causeth them to cease. Yes, he can cause the war to cease. God does this for Jacob, you, Jacob. Why is God getting ready to do a thing that I'm not going to mention right now, but if you can see it, and it looks far-fetched, it looks like it can't be done. Why would he even call his children from afar, even to the place where they fled? We'll put it that way. And pull out, remove all those that are there. Oh, these things are going to happen. He said God stirs up war. We know that. Oh, God's mean. He's evil. And war is nasty. It don't matter whether you're a baby to an old 2,000-year-old man. It doesn't matter. War is war. It don't matter whether you a mother. It doesn't matter whether you a father. It doesn't matter. War is nasty. You must get this through your head. And if it comes to the U.S. or any other far-reaching country, it's nasty. Doesn't have any respect of persons. And he causes them to cease, and he will cause those to cease. And in thy hand are power and might and to exalt and to bring down. Oh, may my prayer be acceptable before thee, that thou mayest turn to me with thy mercies to impress the hearts of these kings and their people with the terror of my sons, and terrify them and their camps with thy great kindness. Deliver all those that trust in thee, and that he will do. For it is thou who canst bring people under us and reduce nations under our power. See, you call yourself by the name of the Most High. You got to realize and understand and believe this thing. It is who that can bring people under Jacob, under and reduce nations under their power, although the nations are as vast and look as though they're more powerful and better and greater than you. I remember when I was a little boy, I was in grade school. I had fought with this one boy. He kept antagonizing me. I was being humbled. He didn't like me because we poor. I mean, living in Chicago, yes, still poor. And they said, people that have well-to-do families, or we thought that well-to-do, and you wear raggedy clothes or shoes with holes in the bottom, even in Chicago, yes. And he would pick on me. And finally, I pushed him back, and he looked at me, I'm going to get you outside. I said, okay. I knew how to fight. My uncle would make us fight. But anyway, when it came after school, my mind just went to the point where this is what you're going to do. And it happened so fast that I went behind him like one of those, martial artists, pushed him to the ground and began just a wailing on him. And he started crying and hollering, and the crowd felt more for him, knowing that he had done the thing to me. And they started trying to knock me off of him because they felt I was going to kill him. And my mind went to look up, and I saw a hole where I could escape from the crowd. And so I ran. I couldn't fight that whole crowd. I ran home. And I went in my backyard, and the crowd followed me there. I wasn't afraid, and I started throwing bricks, whatever I could find, because there was a brick barbecue pit, and there were extra bricks back. I would throw bricks at them and everything until an adult hollered out the window, hey, and everybody ran and fled like rabbits. I wasn't afraid of the crowd. God will give you instructions in the midst of the battle, what to do, whether to flee or whether to fight, whether to subdue this person or subdue that person. God will give you instructions. You don't even have to know how to fight, but it's good that you stay in good shape. God is all in all. He teaches my hands to war. Yes. Glory to God. Now, let's continue. Chapter 35 and verse 1. And all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors. That was to be done with the sons of Jacob, for they were still afraid of them, saying, behold, two of them slew the whole of the city of Shechem. And the I Am heard the prayer of Isaac and Jacob, and he fulfilled the hearts of all these kings' advisors with great fear and terror, that they unanimously exclaimed, are you silly this day, or is there no understanding in you that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take delight in your own destruction this day? In other words, they knew God was with them. Yes. When your enemy knows God is with you, I don't care how much he disbelieves. When he just gets into that thing and says, oh, I better leave these people alone because God is with him. He might even not even know why he said that. But your fear can cancel all that out, and they come against you and just rend you. Behold, two of them came to the city of Shechem without fear or terror, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city. Why did they not have no fear or terror? Because they came not as the Christians came in no fear throughout Africa, and they came to no fear throughout all the parts of Palestine to help subdue the Muslims and Palestinians. No, that ain't the fear they came with. God does that for a reason. That wasn't in God's plan as far as salvation or favor toward nations. No. That's wasn't it. That was a whole different thing. They didn't carry no cross they saw in the sky, no idol. But they believed on the I Am of their fathers. And someone called these people silly. You're going to fight with somebody you can't beat because you're not going to beat them. And behold, 2 of them came to the city of Shechem without fear or terror, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city, that no man stood up against them. And how will you be able to fight with them all? Surely you know that their God is exceedingly fond of them. Oh, yes. Is God fond of you? Does your way please the Most High? Are you a pagan? Are you still carrying that cross on your neck and saying there is more than one God by putting this Jesus next to him? Why are you dilapidated? You see these people over in the land that call themselves by the name of the Most High, and yet they suffer violence. Violence cometh at them. But not only them, but those who come at them. God is doing a thing here. You got to see, to understand. You cannot see, you don't know. And surely you know that God is exceedingly fond of them and has done mightily things for them, such as have not been done from the days of old and amongst all the gods of nations. And there is none that can do like unto his mighty deeds. Jasher is not even included in the Ethiopian Bible. This is powerful. This is a truth about the Most High that is most powerful. It's giving you a version of the account of the angel unto Moses and what happened in that day. And surely he delivered their father Abram, the Hebrew, from the hand of Nimrod and from the hand of all his people who had many times sought to slay him. Abraham was the Messiah, if that's what you want to call him. He was spoken of. He was foretold by the mages of Nimrod. Mizraim was just getting started at that time. And God steadily exalted them until they got to the point where Jacob came out unto them to be conditioned to serve the Most High. Now, verse 7, and he delivered him also from the fire which King Nimrod had cast him, and his God delivered him from it. See, they remember these things. And who else can do the like? Surely it was Abraham who slew the 5 kings of Elam, and when they had touched his brother's son, and who in those days dwelt in Sodom, and took his servant that was faithful in his house, and a few of his men, and they pursued the kings of Elam, and in one night, and killed him, and restored to his brother's son all his property, which they had taken from him. Yes, and by the way, I returned to school the next day too. That's how much confidence the Most High gave me. And surely you know the God of these Hebrews is much delighted with them, and they also delighted with him. For they know that he delivered them from all their enemies. You have no enemies, but your enemies have God as their enemies, and that's even worse. Yes, your enemies are against you. He said, pray for your enemies. Why are you going to pray for your enemies? You pray that God deliver your enemies into your hand, or he do a thing with your enemies to get them off of you, or apparently that you make peace with God, that your enemies might be at peace with you. Yes. Abraham took his only and precious son and intended to bring him up as a burnt offering to his God, and it had not been for God who prevented him from doing this, he would have done it through his love to his God. Abraham loved God. And God saw all his works and swore unto him. See, these heathen knew this. They knew who God was. They decided they rather go to what they can see rather than what they could not see. But they knew the power of him whom they saw not. Come on here. Saw all his works and swore unto him and promised him that he would deliver his sons and all his seeds from every trouble that would befall them, because he had done this thing, and through his love to God, his God stifled his compassion for his child. In other words, God, Abraham, no. For God I live, for God I die, and I love myself, I love my God, even above myself. And if I love myself God above myself, then what is my wife, my children, my relative? What is they? Nothing. See, God wants you to get to this point. Not that you hate them, but you will not let them divert you from the confidence that you have in the Most High. Yes. And behold, we ourselves saw with our eyes that Esau, the brother of Jacob, came to him with 400 men and with intention of slaying him. For he called to mind that had taken away from him his father's blessing. No, Esau gave his blessing away. That's what he did, like a fool. And 15, and we went to meet him, and then he came from Syria to smite the mother with children, and who delivered him from his hands. But his God, in whom he trusted, he delivered him from the hand of his brother and also from the hands of his enemies. And surely he again will protect them. He's showing the power of those who are with you, Jacob, if you are with God. In other words, his commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. 16. Who does not know that it was their God who inspired them with strength to do the town of Shechem, the evil which you heard of? Could it then be with their own strength that two men could destroy such a large city as Shechem, had it not been for their God in whom they trusted? He said and did unto them all this to slay the inhabitants of the city in their city. Two men. But it was the wise, most holy Tata Nzambe that gave them the wisdom on how to subdue these people. And you then prevail over them who have come forth together from your city to fight with the whole of them. And even if 1,000 times as many more, one shall taste 1,000, two shall put thousands to flight. This is where this come from, 10,000 to flight. 19, and surely you know and understand that you do not come to fight with them, but you come to fight to war with their God. This is taken from the enemy. Those who have saw these things but cannot have been drawn and led astray of other entities, that they cannot even come close to the Most High, but they witness the things that the Most High have done. Come on here. He said, and it made a choice of them, and you have therefore come all come this day to be destroyed. You don't come against them. You don't come against Jacob. You don't come against a child of Jacob that is practicing those things that God have prescribed for Jacob. No, you are not. You come against who? God. And soon enough, this world will find out whom they come against. And now, therefore, refrain from this evil. And those of you who say, well, we're going back to our ancestors. We're going to go do this and that. We're going to practice witchcraft and all this other stuff. Now, I understand that some things we don't understand. Some things the colonizer didn't understand, that some of you were just calling on the God of your fathers. Some of you were actually worshiping, even as some Asians do, your ancestors, thinking they will protect you. If they were so much to protect them, how come they did? If they were protecting you, how come they were, some of them thrown in jail, some of them were evil and wicked? You got a problem. Greatly deceived by devils, which you are endeavoring to bring upon yourself, and it would be better for you not to go to battle with them, although they are but few in number, because their God is with them. Oh, yes. Where do these psalms and these sayings come from? God being with us is better than thousands against us. 21, and when the kings of the Amorites heard all the words of their advisors, their hearts were filled with terror, and they were afraid of the sons of Jacob and would not fight against them. Hey, deliverance right there, before it even started. And they inclined their ears to the words of their advisors, and they enlisted to all their words, and the words of the counselors greatly pleased the kings, and they did so. And the kings turned and refrained from the sons of Jacob, for they durst not approach them to make war with him, for they were greatly afraid of them, and their hearts melted within them from their fear. Just like God already had the Ender's game going. U.S. only got that bomb going, but now everybody got bombs, so they're not afraid of that. 24. For this proceed from the I am to them, for he heard the prayers of his servant. Now your prayer. And Jacob, for they trusted in him. Now that's the whole thing from talking and trusting is two different things. And all these kings returned with their camps on that day, each to his own city, and they did not at that time fight with the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob kept their station that day till the evening opposite Mount Sion. That's in Telerad, not that place. Now, yes, I'm pointing east. Did not come to fight them. The sons of Jacob returned home. Yes, you can return home from your fight. Those of you on the largest continent in the earth, return home. Those of you that are in South Africa, you could beat them. No, I don't. You can beat them, but you have to do it through the Most High. It's not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Clue, Gideon. He took Deborah with him, the prophet. And they announced their names before their enemy. And their enemy turned against each other and fled. Look at the prophet Elijah and his servant. He said, those that be with us are more than they that are against us. And he said, open his eyes that he might see. And he looked on the hill, and there were flaming fires, chariots, thousands of power, thousands of myriads. He just let them see a little bit in the spirit world what was going on. But they did not attack their bodies, they attacked their minds. You can wear the helmet of Magneto and it still won't help you if you call yourself an enemy to the children of Jacob, those that really are the children of Jacob and believe on the Most High. They turned against each other in their mind and slew each other to the last man. Oh, our God is good, but we look at these things as fairy tales. I suppose they are fairy tales to you. And if they are fairy tales, well, you just stand before your enemy and die. And with that, I'm going to say, trust him and peace.